Hello YouTube. My name's John. I'm gonna start doing Game of Thrones reviews, episode by episode, and and here we are with season 5. So let me just get through it. Game of Thrones, one of my favorite shows. His show got better and better each season. I'll just be reviewing it episode by episode. Just know I'm going completely into spoilers. Do not watch if you don't want spoilers. I will not leave stones unturned when it comes to that. Just know, if I ever say a Game of Thrones episode is not the best, just know that's by Game of Thrones standard. That's not by television standards. Because because even the worst episodes of Game of Thrones are still fantastic hours of television. Just they're not the outstanding hours of television that Game of Thrones sometimes hits. And it's like saying there's a bad that wasn't the best episode of The Last Airbender. Not a bad half hour of television, just didn't live up to their great standards. But anyway, so here we are, episode 1 of season 5, The Wars to Come. Now, this was a very appropriate title for this episode, because this was definitely one of the weaker episodes, because it did feel like it was nothing but just a lot of setup, just all over the place, because the problem is now at this point with the books, there are just so many major characters in so many different places in Westeros. They just had to make this a pure setup episode, and I even think that they added a few scores to the theme song, because they just needed the box, the mechanical toy box opening credits to go to so many different places. They just had to add a few others, but they didn't even hit every character. Arya was completely unmentioned this episode. But anyway, so we'll just talk about the characters area by area. So first the episode started with the first flashback of the season, and it showed young Cersei getting her fortune told by a fortune teller, and that's one thing I never liked about Game of Thrones is magic. I'm cool with the dragons, I like, and monsters and all that. Just magic, alone. Anytime magic shows up, I'm kind of what is the extent to magic? How powerful is it? When can it be used? It always just feels like a convenient plot device for whenever they just want to use it, and but anyway, it's the young Cersei. She gets her fortune told, just says "Oh, you'll be queen. Your life's gonna suck though. You'll have 3 kids. Your husband will have 20 kids, and there'll be someone more younger and more beautiful trying to take your power from you, Marjorie, of course." And then it cuts to current day King's Landing, and Cersei still being Cersei just a complete bitch. It starts off at Tywin's funeral. Well, before the start of his funeral, just Cersei and Jaime, they basically just have a moment, and Cersei's you let good old Peter Dinklage out, didn't you? And Jaime's yeah, I did. And she's you know, at least Peter Dinklage willingly killed our father. You were stupid enough to let your father to let him go to kill your father, you idiot. I'm just oh, whatever. I'm just well, Cersei, you're still just a bitch, aren't you? And Jaime, not enough Jaime in this episode. Very much thrown to the sidelines. That was really his only scene. He didn't really say that much of a response, so that was a bit of a disappointment. Then we had the aftermath, just at the wake. I guess that's what was going on. With Cersei just seeing things seeing her fortune coming true with Natalie Dorner, Marjorie just trying to get with her son, and then it was weird. Her cousin showed up, and I don't remember her cousin from the show. I guess they slept with each other. He's found religion, is now offering religion to Cersei. Yeah, that was all weird, but so still with Cersei. Lena Headey's always great, but not much happened there. But then we got to, where the hell has Peter Dinklage been for the past few weeks? And, well, he's been in a box, and that's basically it. He finally has made across the narrow sea with Ser Verros, and, he's just Peter Dinklage is just a wreck, just vomiting, just in complete rage and misery, and basically, and Varys is like, look, and he's like, Peter Dinklage is like, Varys, why the hell did you save me? And Sir Varys was just like, look, because you can save the world, you can help like save Westeros. Like this is a land going to shit, basically. And and like Peter Dinklage is like, fuck Westeros. Like how, like I'm never gonna be king. And then I will never sit on the Iron Throne. This in the trailer, just like Sir Varys is like. Sir Varys is like, well, no, you will not sit on the Iron Throne, but we will. But you can get someone there, being Emilia Clarke and Dany and Peter Dinklage are like, fine, let's go find Emilia Clarke and help her take the Iron Throne. And so that's what Peter Dinklage is going on to. Once again, not much done with him, but once again, this was mainly just a setup episode. Then we went to Emilia Clarke, I'm pretty sure, and Dany just doing her thing. First, we saw one of her Unsullied being like assassinated, and that was odd. And basically, like some of the people who don't like her are just like trying to kill her Unsullied, and she's like, well, damn those people. Not much happened with Emilia Clarke. Like, just all that really happened was they were basically just saying, like, people were just asking, hey, have you reopened basically what was a Coliseum-like area? And she was kind of like, no, but then, like, her boyfriend was like, yeah, no, open it. And she was like, okay. Only really interesting thing that happened with her is she goes back down to her, her boyfriend's like, look, you don't have that much commandment without the dragons. You are the queen of dragons. Without the dragons, you lose part of your title. Then she goes down to her dragons. Dragons just as freaking awesome as ever. Definitely more vicious than ever. And not much to say. Once again, mainly just set up for things to come. Then there was also, we saw a brief scene with Brienne and Pod. Love Brienne and Pod. I think that needs to be a spin-off show, The Many Adventures of Brienne and Pod, where it just shows them adventuring around the Seven Kingdoms, just getting into adventures. But anyway, Brienne is basically is basically at her lowest after losing Arya. She just feels horrible. She basically tells Pod to fuck off, essentially. And I don't know, Pod's such a nice guy. Why would you ever say such a nice thing to Pod? And yeah, nice character moment there. Not much else to say. Then we finally went to Sophia Turner and Lord Baelish, and Sansa, Lord Baelish, and you saw Lord Baelish is definitely aiming to get Robin killed, essentially, get that little bastard killed, and just trying to train him in the sword, just seeing him just suck so hard and just him not caring. That was great. That was a great showing of the character. And Sophia Turner definitely becoming more and more of a badass by the season. Just completely now a player of the Game of Thrones, completely the right hand woman of Lord Baelish, and she, and like even her hair seems to be symbolic on the grounds that it's now from red to like really like dark red, like almost black looking, and yeah, and I do. I will say this: I really love the conversation between her and Lord Baelish when he basically they're just saying like, is there a place where you can really trust anyone? And he's like, no, but you can just make an example, essentially, so people will just not have loyalty to you. They just will not defy you. And I thought that was a very interesting conversation. And finally, Jesus, there was so much stuff happening in this episode. So much setup. We finally went to the Night's Watch, and this is probably where the most shit went down. This is probably most meaningful. What happens is Jon Snow still bummed out that his girlfriend is dead. Ygritte said, I loved Ygritte. Still bummed out his girlfriend said, I was like, that was actually a very interesting scene that he was actually training the kid who killed her. I thought that was interesting. Basically, him just being like, I don't have any anger against you for the fact you did. You had to do it, essentially. Like, you're part, I don't blame you. I thought that was nice. I will say this, though. I was sad that there was no scene between Sam and Jon, because I love those two together. They probably have the purest friendship. Just no strings attached. Just pure one-on-one friendship. And, but Sam and Gilly had a really great scene with one another, where basically Gilly's like, oh, shouldn't you be a traitor? It's like, why? I'm already a member of the Night's Watch. I mean, how many can say they killed a White Walker? I thought that was great. I love Sam and Gilly. That they're always hilarious together. And And but what's going on? And but Stannis said it basically just says to Jon Snow like, what I want you to do is I want you to make the leader of the Wildlings to pledge loyalty to me to help recapture Winterfell, and to which Jon Snow tries, he fails, and then and because of that, they burn the leader of the Wildlings at the stake. I forget what the guy's name is, and I will say it was actually very interesting, very dark scene where you basically saw Jon Snow's compassion, where basically when he was just buried alive, no one just watching, that he just decided just to end and just shot an arrow into the guy's chest to put him out of suffering. That was interesting, oh, and finally there was a quick thing with back in King's Landing with Marjorie and her brother, just Marjorie just basically just being like just kind of being like, telling your brother, stop being so gay, bro. It's getting annoying. Let's lower it on the gay level a bit. But, yeah, sorry, there wasn't much to talk about this episode character-wise or plot-wise. It was just a bunch of setup. Wow, that was a lot to talk about anyway. But still, great hour of television. Love Game of Thrones. Great to see it back. YouTube, please subscribe. I will see you next time.